Welcome to Priceless Takes.
Welcome back, everyone, to Priceless Takes, episode 55. Today, joining me is two panelists, one who you see very frequently, Mr. Reuben Lind, and someone who you haven't seen in quite a bit of time. He has made an appearance once before, but he is here today to help run the show. Gabe Marguglio and Reuben, how you guys doing today?
Good, good.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Really happy about the Knicks doing well. Bit worried about the Lakers, but I'll explain why later in the show.
I'm the same.
Well, that's why we're here. That is why we're here, guys. Listen, we had some games today, the Battle of the Eights and the Ones. I've watched the majority of that Celtics game, and I could not believe the Heat setting a playoff record, 23 made threes in a game. Absolutely just blew the Celtics out of the water. Bam Adebayo was hitting middies for days. Tyler Hero had 6 of 9 from 3. Caleb Martin was 5 of 6. They were just absolutely balling. OKC defended home court, which I don't think was to anyone's surprise, considering the Pelicans are undermanned without Zion. I think my Thunder in 6 pick, I think I might have given the Pelicans a bit more credit than they deserve because they have just looked so passive in these first 2 games. Gabe, you watched the game today. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I just think Brandon Ingram needs to take a step up. If I'm being honest, like with Zion being out, you got to be like, you know what I mean? I think he shot 1 3 today. I don't even think he shot a 3. You got to be that main guy on the offense. You know what I mean? Like they need that one piece, like that shade. And without Zion, it needs to be him, and he's just not stepping up. I think that's just like, you know what I mean? Like he needs to take that leap.
It actually reminded me a lot of Kevin Durant. You know, when you play physical, he just shrinks a little bit and isn't his normal self. I don't know if you agree with that, Ruben.
Yeah, I definitely think they're missing Zion. The only reason I had Thunder in 6 was because of how good Willie Green is as a coach. So that's why I only gave the Pelicans some extra games in that. But Thunder looking way too good with how well Jalen Williams shot, Shea and Chet. Just unbelievable in the last 2 games.
Yeah. They're having their way. For those of you that don't know, Gabe is our resident Phoenix / Kevin Durant fan. We will certainly be debating their early playoff struggles in the second topic. But to start, we're going to talk about, in my opinion, a topic that we shouldn't actually be talking about because people on the panel have decided to not use their big boy basketball brains and pick this series correctly. And luckily, Gabe is going to be the voice of reason today for everyone who doesn't know. Gabe picked Denver in 4. And after they took a 2-0 lead 2 nights ago, Denver in 4 certainly seems like a possibility for the back-to-back year. Jamal Murray gives the Nuggets a 2-0 series lead after a game-winning buzzer-beater shot over AD. This capped off a 20-point comeback for Denver that they started midway through the third quarter. Jokic finished the game with 27, 20, and 10. Jamal Murray finished with 20 points, shooting 9 of 24, but was 6 of 7 down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Michael Porter Jr. tacked on another 22 points to lift the Nuggets. Lakers, very, very frustrating performance by them because they played so well and still could not come out of Denver with the W. LeBron finished with 26, 8, and 12. AD 32 and 11 on 14 of 19 shooting. D'Lo had 7 threes for 23 points. Now, we all watched this game, guys. We know what happened. Jamal hit that shot, but it was what happened before with LeBron missing a wide open 3 with just over 10 seconds left that allowed Jamal Murray to walk down the floor, hit a step back midi over AD. And this is the second time in the series that the Lakers have blown a double-digit points lead to the Nuggets. It was only 11 points in game 1. 10 in a row, Rubes, 10 in a row. Now they're going to have to win 4 out of 5 games if they want to beat the Nuggets in this series after they have now lost 10 in a row. Reuben, you picked the Lakers, so I'm going to let Gabe talk first about this series. Gabe, can the Lakers bring this back, or is the series over?
I I think the series is over, if I'm being honest. I reckon the Lakers can get one, but if I'm really being honest, I reckon they get swept. I don't see, like with AD putting up 32, LeBron playing like he did, and they still couldn't get over the hump. Like, I know they're saying about this foul, like all that, but they still can't get over the hump. I just don't see them winning this series at all. Especially with the two-man game that Joker and Murray possess. I don't, like, they can get a shot from anywhere in that two-man, especially down the stretch, like how they did it yesterday. They can get whatever shot they want with those two running the ball, and I just don't see it for the Lakers. I just don't see them getting.
Well, can I just add Gabe? As good as Jamal Murray is in the playoffs, I actually think he's been quite disappointing because he shot 37.5% from the field, and I think Austin Reeves has done well defensively. Who has done really well, and who I think has been the second best player for the Nuggets is actually Michael Porter Jr. Luka brought up. He's been averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, shooting 51% from three, averaging 1.5 steals as well, so doing it on both ends. But going back to the question about the Lakers Nuggets, I'm losing hope. I'm really losing hope. I was talking to Tyson about it the other day. There's one moment they play like the Denver Nuggets, and then the next they play like Detroit Pistons. Gabe Vincent and Gabe Vincent and Spencer Dinwiddie, being spot up shooters, have not been able to perform their roles really well. They've been getting 0 points across both games, but I still have a small chance that they can do it. I'm not going to give up on the Lakers yet, considering that there's been 449 series where teams have been down 2-0, and only 33 of those series have been successful, which is a 7% success rate. Ironically, LeBron has actually had the most wins when it comes down to 2-0 deficits. He's done it 3 times.
How'd it go from
once
last year?
Last year?
Yeah, when they were down 2-0 to the Nuggets.
No, but we're talking about historically. LeBron is a clutch player. When down 2-0, he's done it in the Eastern Conference Finals 2007 against the Pistons. He's come down 2-0 in the 2016 Finals. Everyone knows about the LeBron block. And he did the same in the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals. So when they are down, you can count on LeBron. But there is a lot of red flags at the Lakers, and I got to say, I'm quite disappointed, considering how well that AD played, how well LeBron played, and how well D'Lo played. And Nuggets just haven't even been playing that well, especially Jamal Murray, and they just still can't get it done. So I don't have that much hope, but a small chance considering how great LeBron is.
Well, that's why I don't understand how you have any hope, considering the Lakers have played 2 very good games. And even for he finished the game 14 of 19. He was 14 of 15 at one point and was absolutely dominating until they decided to put Aaron Gordon on him instead of Jokic. And for some reason, they just didn't have an answer for him, and he couldn't generate the offense that he was generating. Now, Reuben, I want to ask you this question because you picked the Lakers. Why do the Lakers keep blowing these double-digit leads? What is it that is happening late in these games that's allowing them to bottle these leads? The Lakers, I think, are feeling frustrated they're not up 2-0 right now. 1-1 at the least, because they did let that game 1 get away from them in the third quarter. So by the time it got to the fourth quarter, Denver sort of had it out of reach. But why are they blowing these leads? What's happening to them in the second halves?
Luka, this team lacks discipline. When they slowly the lead starts slipping, they jack up these stupid shots, and that's when Jokic and Jamal Murray capitalize on their two-man play, like Gabe said. And I don't think they're running that many plays under Darvin Ham. I don't rate him as a coach. The only plays I see him running is the pick and roll with LeBron and AD, and then LeBron, I saw so many times him be at the top of the key, and the 4 role players outside the three-pointer not doing anything, just expecting LeBron to do everything. And then,
who was on him, Rubes, in that second half? Do you remember who they had on him?
Caldwell Pope did a decent job on him, I think.
Exactly. No, but that's the thing. LeBron was passive in that third quarter when he needed to go aggressive because they put Gordon on AD, and then LeBron had KCP, and there's no way that LeBron shouldn't have been demanding for the ball. KCP's a great defender, but he's a grown man. You know, he's 6'9", 260. KCP can't deal with him.
Well, LeBron's getting gassed out.
LeBron was passive in that third quarter.
Well, everyone else needs to step up, and no one else is stepping up. That's the problem, because LeBron and AD are having really good first halves, and then they're slowing down the second half because they're getting gassed out. And that's why the Nuggets are so good, because when their two best players can't step up, they've still got KCP, MPJ, and Aaron Gordon. The Lakers have been problematic in defensively as well, because I don't get why Darvin Ham keeps putting Jokic one-on-one it with Hachimura. Jokic was having an absolute field day against Hachimura. Darvin Ham, I just don't understand what he's trying to do on the defensive end.
Rose, I'm just going to add on to that.
Gabe, why do you think they're blowing all these leads?
I'm literally just going to add on to what Reuben just said. I think it's all defense, and it's defensive discipline, because what I saw in that game, like I think it was Gabe Vincent, went 3 or 4 steps above the three-point line. They're not shooting it from out there. Like, realistically, they're not Steph Curry. It's not winding down the shot clock, you know what I mean? And they've gone all the way up, they push all the way up, and then it's just a pick and roll, or someone slips, like Aaron Gordon will slip, and it's just bang, bang. Couple quick passes. They're lacking defensive, discipline. Exactly what you said, Rude. I reckon it's all come down to defense, because they can score the ball. Like, AD can have 32. They can score the ball. It's defensive end. They're just letting it go. That's why they're blowing leads. That's what I think it comes down to. Because that first half,
I agree that that's a part of it, but the reason that ultimately they're blowing these leads is for the same reason I said Denver's going to win this series. And I really wish Oscar and Tyson were here to hear this, because at the end of the day, when the games get close, Denver is just a better team. And it's offensive execution that lets the Lakers down. Okay, Jamal Murray had an absolute horrendous game, but when it was time to play ball, he played ball 6 of 7 down the stretch. The great ones, Reuben, can turn it on when they haven't got it going the whole game. Okay, Denver came alive in that fourth quarter and outscored them by 12. In the clutch, they just execute so much better than the Lakers do. And that's what it really comes down to. And that's why I said the Lakers don't have a shot in this series, because they don't have the execution required in the clutch. LeBron, if he hits that 3, they probably win the game. If I'm being completely honest with you.
But LeBron is not usually the best in the fourth quarter, but leading up to that 3, he was making a lot of shots.
Reuben, you just spent 2 minutes telling me how they're down 2-0 and how he's so clutch and so great that they're going to come back. So he's going to need to hit those shots if they're going to come back.
He only missed one shot. He only missed that one open 3. He was shot 3 of 6 from 3.
It's when it matters. Jamal Murray missed all those shots in quarters 1 to 3, but that didn't matter, Reuben, because he made it when it mattered the most.
Yeah,
but LeBron, he made all those shots in the first 3 quarters, but when it mattered the most, he couldn't make it. And this is the thing in the playoffs, Reuben. It's the small differences that win and lose you series. Now, I know you're a basketball historian, Reuben. How many games have the Lakers beat the Nuggets in the bubble in the Western Conference Finals?
Well, they were 4-1. The Lakers won 4 out of 5 games.
Yeah, it was 5. And what game did AD hit that buzzer beater?
It was game 2 or 3, I think.
It was game 2, and just exactly like Jamal Murray hit this buzzer beater in game 2 of round 1, and this is going to be the difference in the game, because that's your series right there. And I hate to break this to the Lakers fans, but that is your series right there. In the same way, when the Lakers dominated the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals in the bubble, everyone looked back to that game 2 AD buzzer beater and said the Nuggets had that game, and that was the difference in the series. Everyone's going to look back on this series when the Lakers lose in 5 games and say that was the difference in this series when Jamal Murray hit that buzzer beater over Anthony Davis. And I posted this on our Instagram for those of you that don't follow it, at Priceless Takes. I'll post the link in the description. That bubble deja vu, that is what it reminded me of. And I think for the two of you that watched the games and for everyone at home that did, it's the same. It was bubble deja vu. There's so many other things I want to talk about, but I want to hear your guys' points on that, because Denver is just better than the clutch, and that's why the Lakers have no shot.
But you know what they need to stop the clutch? They need defenders. And you know why the Lakers won 2020? They had that size. They had JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. They're really missing Christian Wood and Jared Vanderbilt.
But the Nuggets weren't what they were. Christian Wood and Jared Vanderbilt can't do nothing with Jokic.
No, but Jared Vanderbilt's a really good perimeter defender. What, you telling me he couldn't go on Jamal Murray to defend him?
Well, if he hits that shot over AD, I'm pretty sure he hits that shot over anyone, quite frankly. He probably hits that shot over Wembanyama for all I care, with the longest reach ever. Like,
But
that,
Jared
I don't
Vanderbilt is the best perimeter defender, and he would be able to defend better. That would avoid that last clutch shot.
And was Jared
They wouldn't
Vanderbilt
have got-
healthy in last year's Western Conference Finals?
Well, yeah, but they're also missing
Yes,
Christian.
Jamal Murray cooked them for 32 a game. Okay,
They're also
Jared
missing-
Vanderbilt is not the answer. There is no answer.
When-
That's
when
why they had no
AD
shot to win this
when
series to
AD
begin with.
When AD got in foul trouble, Hachimura was on Jokic. Don't you think they were missing Christian Wood? He's 6'10". He could have at least
And
somewhat
he's like
handled Jokic better than Hachimura.
150 pounds.
I mean, he's met.
Christian
they're
Wood
almost,
weighs less than me.
yeah, but it's size though. It's the height.
No, it's not, because all Jokic does is just put his butt into you and just back you down and back you down. And Christian Wood ain't got enough bricks in his back pocket to deal with that, Rubes. Dwight Howard at this, maybe even still he probably doesn't. But I'm just saying, Christian Wood certainly is not the answer. They don't have an answer, Ruben.
I'm not saying he is the answer. No one's stopping Jokic, but containing him better. I'm talking about.
Gabe, help me out here.
No, I agree with you, Luke. I don't think Christian Wood's doing anything. I just their defense just can't match up to Nuggets. I'm not gonna lie. Luke, you are right.
But that's why they need Jared Vanderbilt on.
He's not changing.
That's why they need Jared Vanderbilt on Jamal Murray.
No,
He is though. He's their best defender. They're terribly in the perimeter defending.
We've already seen it happen before.
On both of them. On AD on both of them.
Yeah,
so
but they
it's
lacked
switch.
chemistry last season. That they haven't had a full chance to play together last season, which is why it was a sweep. And each of the games are close.
Ruben, you don't need chemistry to lock down defensively. I saw Kawhi Leonard in 1 year with the Toronto Raptors lock down Giannis for 6 games straight. If you're that guy defensively, offensively I can sort of understand, but defensively, if you're that guy, you can take out a player if you are that guy defensively. I don't think chemistry plays a part when it's one-on-one defending, which is what you're suggesting Jared Vanderbilt does with Jamal Murray, is take him one-on-one.
That Raptors team had a full season. They made all these trades within the deadline, which was like 25 games. That's a third of the season.
But they still had Anthony Davis.
What are you talking about?
He's supposed to be the defensive player of the year, and you know what I mean? Like, he's not doing enough for them. Like, he's scoring, yeah, don't get me wrong, but he's just defensively, he's not enough. He's not doing enough of a presence in the paint, and you know what I mean?
But they need more help offensively, so that AD can do more defensively.
The one thing I will agree with you on is Michael Porter Jr. has certainly picked up Jamal Murray's empty points that he had in the Western Conference Finals. And when we look at this game, I think he is the unsung hero because he hit that huge three, okay, just before LeBron missed that three to tie it up. And if Austin Reeves, unfortunately, Aaron Gordon just muscled him out of that loose ball. But if Austin Reeves gets that ball, the Lakers probably win too. Speaking of Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, I need them to do something in these home games, Rubes.
I do
because,
too.
Ruben, you along with the other two panelists who aren't here told me Austin and Rui were going to average 40 points combined, just like they did in last year's Western Conference.
Hachimura is one of the most efficient scorers in the league. He was terrible in game 2.
He's averaging 3 points per game for the series.
I know, he was terrible last game, and so is Austin Reeves. They've been to shell themselves in these games. The only good thing that Austin Reeves done is play good D against Jamal Murray.
Yeah, and you know which duo's outplaying them? Christian Brown, who I said was going to do good, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And you mocked
Christian Brown was one game.
Christian Brown
game.
had 10 points in game 2. Christian Brown had 10 points in game 2. Okay? Anyway, Ruben, what is the score of this series when it returns back to Denver, if it returns back to Denver?
They have to try and get at least one game. You know what? I'm going to say 1-1. I'm going to say 1-1.
What do you mean? So 3-1 Denver.
Yeah, 3-1 Denver. Because I don't think the Lakers can get both.
The Lakers will win in 7.
Yes.
Okay. And Gabe, you still going with your sweep?
Nah, I reckon they can. I reckon it's a sweep. I don't think. I don't think they can.
You reckon it's a sweep? Listen, I think the Lakers are just. If you saw LeBron and Anthony Davis after those press conferences, they were shot in the heart. Both of them stormed out, and I think I'm going to stick with my 5 games because I don't like flipping my predictions. But I think a sweep is certainly on the cards. But I will give LeBron some credit because if he's that player we all think he still is, he can go and at least win them this game 3. And at least by winning game 3 psychologically, they'll still feel like they're in it, even though I think Denver's going to come back and win it on their home court in 5 games. But it'll make it much more of a series if they win game 3 as opposed to if they win game 4 after being down 3-0.
The only thing I will concede is if it gets to 3-0, I'm going to have to give up on them because no team's ever come back from 3-0. But that's the only time I give up on the Lakers.
You don't have any stats to me about how good LeBron is from 3-0 down compared to like he did when he was 2-0 down from 2007?
Well, no, because no one's done it. Not even Michael Jordan's done that, and he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Well, I think LeBron's been down 3-0 before. How's he played when he's been down 3-0? There you go.
Well, how am I meant to know that? He's had to carry like all these teams with
We'll have to
bums
find
in them.
out. Kevin bleeping Durant, guys.
Oh, yes.
This is what we're talking about next.
Yep.
Give it to me.
Kevin bleeping Durant, and normally it's Kevin bleeping Durant, like best player on the planet, Kevin bleeping Durant. But this is Kevin bleeping, like, what are you doing, Kevin bleeping Durant? Because the Wolves have completely just rattled the Suns, taking a 2-0 series lead. The Suns were 3-0 against Minnesota in the regular season, including blowing them out on the last day of the regular season to face Minnesota in the playoffs. Now, in the first 2 playoff games, the T-Wolves have won by 25 in Game 1 and 12 in Game 2. Game 1 was the Ant-Man show. He had 33. Game 2 was the team show with Jaden McDaniels leading all scorers, 25 points, 10 of 17 field goals. Similar on the other side, Phoenix, it was the Durant show, even though they lost by 25. He had 31. He only had 18 in Game 2, but the biggest loss for the Suns was Grayson Allen going out with an ankle injury in Game 2. We don't know what's going to happen to him. They just signed him to an extension, and he's been the NBA's best three-point shooter this season. Booker and Beal are both averaging less than 20 points per game. Look, on the other side, Minnesota have had people stepping up. Nickeil Alexander-Walker averaging 14 points a game, which I don't think anyone expected. And the newly crowned 6th man of the year, which is debatable. We can talk about that later. Naz Reid, also coming off the bench. Gabe, what's happened in these first 2 games? And on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances of Phoenix coming back to Minnesota at 2-2?
I think it's there. I really think it was just we just dropped the ball in those first 2 games. I think Booker. I'm not throwing shots at anyone, but that first game, I think Booker and Beal need to step up a little bit. You know, I'm not seeing playoff shots. Booker. I'm not seeing playoff Booker. I don't know where he's going, and I'm not seeing. The first game I saw Kevin Durant, but this second game. What happened to him? I think they just pressed him too hard, and he just went, like, "What do we need to do?" And just let it all fall out. And Jaden McDaniels just got on his ass and made himself have a good pace. But I think we can. It is very easy for us to win these 2 games, but at the same time, it's very easy for us to just fall away now. So it's much of a coin toss flip, I think. But I do think we are coming back 2-2. Coming back to Minnesota 2-2. I think we get these games easy.
Wow.
What needs to change from these first 2 games for that to happen? Because they haven't been. Game 2 was close, but Minnesota got away in the end. What do you want to see differently from the Suns?
I think we need to start playing a bit quicker. I think we're taking too much of a back foot and just trying to rely on shooting. I think we need to get out in transition because Minnesota's slow. I'm sorry, but they are slow. Like, they have quick players, but they are slow. They're running 2 bigs and one getting up and down the court. They are slow. They don't like pushing the ball. They like getting into their sets, trying to get AE to do whatever he wants to do. And I think we just need to really start pushing the pace on them. And I think if we do that, we come out successful.
Well, look, Luca, you know I don't like the Phoenix Suns whatsoever. I've never been a fan of them.
Why'd you pick them?
Well, I picked them because of how good Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker are, and I'd like to think you could get it done over a team that's inexperienced and has Rudy Gobert, who's the biggest liability when it comes to the playoffs. But Luca, they've been absolutely shocking. Let's start off with Devin Booker, right? We talk about regular season players and we talk about playoff players. I think Devin Booker is a regular season player. He chokes in the playoffs. For example, this season he's been averaging 27, 7, and 5, 49% from the field, 36% from 3. You know what he's done so far? He's been averaging 19 and 5, shooting 33% from 3, 16% from 3, and then he's been shooting 31% from the floor, 46% from the floor, averaging 5 fouls as well. Considering he's on a 4-year deal for $221 million, this is a super team. The Suns owner just must be questioning, like, what is Devin Booker doing? And the fact that, like, that he's been averaging 3.5 turnovers and 5 fouls, he's been fouling out early as well, which has not helped out the Suns team when they rely on him so much. Especially when Kevin Durant, I think, played really well in the first game, but then when it was a little bit close in the at the end of the third quarter and they could pull it back, Kevin Durant, I personally think, was too passive. He didn't take a shot until 3 minutes and 53 seconds left in the fourth quarter. He needs to be doing more to propel that Suns offense, because that's what they're renowned for. They're fifth in three-point percentage. Kevin Durant had 9 points in the second quarter, and it was a 1-point game. So I think Kevin Durant needs to step up for the Suns team to do better. And Gabe, it's interesting that you say that the Wolves are a slow team, because the Suns had 20 turnovers, and off those 20 turnovers, they got 31 points. The Timberwolves had 14 turnovers, the Suns got 2 points. So I 100% agree. They need to push the pace. But they are quick. They got Jaden McDaniels, they got Ant. But the final thing I'll leave with is that a wise man once said, they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
A wise man did say that, Reuben. To answer the question that I asked, do you think Phoenix comes back to Minneapolis at 2-2?
I think it's going to be really hard being 2-0 down. But Kevin Durant, he's one of those all-time greats, and he needs to prove himself, especially after being on that super team. He needs to get one more ring, because Curry's been able to do it. But where's Kevin Durant's ring? Like, they were close in 2021, but you can't have injuries as an excuse. Injuries happen everywhere. So Kevin Durant needs to step up, and he's getting older, and I don't know if he's going to have that same longevity as LeBron. So I don't really give them good chances considering how good Ant is.
Yeah, listen, I have mixed feelings about a lot of what's going on, and I think a lot of it starts with Devin Booker. And I agree with you that Devin Booker, playoff Booker, has been missing, but I really actually don't blame him. Who I blame is the Phoenix Suns front office, because I really don't think they've put Devin Booker in the best position to succeed. And I think early in his career, when Devin Booker used to cook in the playoffs and they made a finals appearance, and even before the whole Dallas thing happened, Booker still played really well against against Dallas in that series until the game 7, and he also played well in the round 1 matchup. Even last year against the undermanned Clippers, he still played well. Like, it's just, he seems to sort of just unravel as the playoffs go on. But when we saw him at his best, what did he have, guys? He had a point guard. Now, Devin Booker, they might want to say he's a point guard, but he's not a natural playmaker. And that's where I think the turnovers come into play, Rubes. And that's where I think the fouls come into play. Because I think those fouls are out of frustration. And he tries to overcompensate defensively because he's frustrated with how he's playing. And this is the thing with the Phoenix Suns in general. When they made those runs, they were a well-constructed team. And I think that they're not a very well-constructed team, and we see this with their bench depth. Now that Grayson Allen's gone out and Eric Gordon's in the starting lineup, they basically only bring Drew Eubanks off the bench. And Drew Eubanks he's not going to be a difference maker for you in the playoffs. Like, he's just not going to be a difference maker. And Ruben, you know this because you were the one talking about a lot of the team's depth, especially in some of the other series. You were talking and you got on me about it, how the Denver Nuggets don't have enough depth and how they need people to come off the bench. And I think it's the same for the Phoenix Suns, and I think it's getting a little bit exposed. But do I think they're going to come back to Minnesota 2-2? And I'm going to side with Gabe on this one because I think that Phoenix have some left in them. And I think, if anything, beating Minnesota 3 times in the regular season was no fluke. Okay. I think that they're going to come home and they're going to win the first game. And I think game 4 is going to be close. Okay. But I think Phoenix, they just need to have a proper go. And I think there's something bigger at play here. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's a lack of leadership in the locker room, because we know Durant's not really known for his leadership qualities, but I believe that Booker and Beal can have that there. So I just think on their home court, I think they'll just play better. And if I'm being completely honest with you, this is what I actually think happened. I think after beating Minnesota 3 times in the regular season, and especially after blowing them out, I think they underestimated them. And I think they walked into Minnesota and they thought, we have smashed these guys in the regular season. They have one superstar in Anthony Edwards, and we have Durant, Beal, and Booker, and we're just going to shoot the lights out. And you said that, guys. You said they were relying on their shooting. And I think this is going to be a real reality check for them. And they're going to come out with their best ball in these next 2 games, because they had an absolute gauntlet of the last 10 games to get into the 6th spot when they were they were nearly sitting in the 9-10 spot at one point to get in the play-in. So we know that they have it in them. But especially now with Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon was 5 of 8 from 3 last night. He needs to keep that up, and I believe he can. But we need to see more, especially from Beal, because if Booker's going to be out of his natural position and they're going to force him as being more of a point guard, we do need to see more from Beal. But I agree Minnesota is very good defensively. Yeah. And I also think that they pushing the pace is good because Minnesota's defense is best in the half court. Okay, and they have Rudy Gobert anchoring that defense, and they have quick players, but Rudy Gobert is not quick. Okay, so Minnesota can recover in defensive transition, but I do think Phoenix needs to push the pace a bit more, because when you do have them in the half court, that is when they have some very tenacious defenders. Mike Conley, even in his old age, is still a good defender. Anthony Edwards is a great defender, to be honest with you. He can lock down. Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards wasn't lying. He's a great defender. And Towns is probably the weak link on defense, but he's still they all give it a go, you know? And I believe in the Suns. I still am going to pick Phoenix to win. I'm definitely not as confident as I was before, because Anthony Edwards, before our very eyes, could be on his way to being the face of the league if he can manage to propel himself over the Suns, and then a rematch with Denver in last year's first round, because Minnesota aren't overly experienced, but let's not forget they actually made the playoffs last year, and even though they didn't do well against Denver, they still played, especially Ant. Ant played good in that series, whereas a team like OKC didn't even make the playoffs last year. So I'd say they're more inexperienced, but Minnesota have had a year, just like the Lakers, Reuben, have had a year to gel with their team, and they're starting to really turn it on.
Yeah, I think they are starting to really turn it on. I think because of how good that trio is, individualistically, I think you raised a really good point. They really need to improve the playmaking. They need that proper floor general. Because Devin Booker during the season, he averaged 7 assists and he's down to 5. And his turnovers, he averaged 2.6 and they're up to 3.5 now. So they need to keep the ball better. And that was the problem with the Celtics.
You guys will agree with me, but in the playoffs, that you hone down on that stuff. Which is why it's getting more exposed now, because you're not playing a team night to night. Anyway, sorry for interrupting you, Reuben.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Well, that's the problem with the Celtics. They've had in the last couple of years. They never really had a floor general. and they're relying on ISO plays,
Mm.
and they just turn over the ball a lot. And I'm just seeing the same patterns with the Suns. Look, if the Suns win game 3, game 4, I don't like to flip flop. If they win game 3, game 4, I think they've got it because of their sheer experience of Kevin Durant. But my one worry is that Anthony Edwards was really inefficient in game 2, and the Suns still couldn't beat them, which is a bit of a
But
concern for
also,
me.
similar to Jamal Murray, Anthony Edwards did get it going a little bit in the second half. And when they pulled away, it was because Ant started making some shots.
I
Gabe,
don't think
you're itching to say something. I want
He
to
shot
get your
3 for
take.
12. I don't know. I just think Phoenix. I think you guys are right. I think Phoenix needs to pull their finger out of there. You know what? And start playing like how Phoenix play. We should blow this team out. This is why when I saw first game, lost second game, I was really taken back, and I was like, "What's going on?" But when I dove in and watched the games again, I saw what it is, and it's just Booker and Beal just look so uncomfortable at the moment. I don't know what it is. They don't look like themselves. Kevin Durant just had a shocking game in game 2. I get that. But this isn't regular season Phoenix. And this is what's annoying me is they've got to realize they're in the playoffs. This ain't the regular season. No one cares. Everyone cares if they win. And everyone cares if they lose. I get that. But now it's the playoffs. You've got to step it up. And Booker and Beal just, I don't know. I think I'm not blaming them, but they really need to step up.
I think it's about them understanding their roles as well. You got to understand your role. It's a team sport. Like Bradley Beal, he was one of the top scorers at Washington, and Devin Booker, before all the big stars he had, was the top scorer. So they got to understand their role within their team to be able to gel properly and work as a system.
I get that.
Because it's a team sport.
I agree with
they need to gel better in order for them to succeed.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that, and I agree they need to figure out. They need a primary ball handler, which they don't have. They're just relying on Book to bring it up.
Well, they had one. They let him go.
They get CP3. He ain't. Yeah. CP3.
This is what I'm saying. Front office. This is what I'm saying. Front office guys, that's what I mean. And even if they thought CP3 wasn't the right player, they could have went out and got another player.
I think you're right.
To fill that void.
I agree with that.
But we'll see how it works out for them. All I know is if they can get past this series, I'm not sure how they're going to go later on. But we are going to switch gears to our final topic because today, now the Miami Heat have stolen home court. But in our other 2 series, yesterday was the first day road teams won, being the Mavericks over the Clippers and the Pacers over the Bucks. Both teams are now tied at 1-1. Kawhi returns for the Clippers in a loss. Giannis still out for the Bucks. Guys, a lot going on in this series. I mean, the Clippers and Mavs is just a defensive battle, which is something that some people might have expected, some people might not have. And the Bucks and the Pacers is a bit more of an offensive battle. Reuben, I'll ask you first. Which team, now the Bucks and the Clippers are both going on the road to Dallas and to Indy, respectively, which of these teams are more likely to steal home court back?
The Clippers, 100%. I did some research. In the regular season, they have the 3rd equal best away record at 26-15. The Bucks are 18-22 away. They're still without their defensive anchor Giannis, which I think they're going to struggle with. The fact that Clippers got game 1 without Kawhi was so impressive. I know Kawhi was a shell of himself in game 2, but he's coming back from injury. Like Embiid, like any star, they need to warm up. I can see Kawhi having a really good game 3 and taking it from there. I think taking game 1 was so important for the Clippers, and the fact that they're able to do it means that I think the Clippers can really take control of the series, but I think definitely Dallas, they'll have to take one of the 2 games, but I think they easily will, considering how good their away record is.
Okay.
No, I agree with that. I think if anyone's going to do it, it is the Clips. Just with the experience and all the talent that they have, it should be them. You know what I mean? I don't see a reason why they don't take it. You know what I mean? Like James Harden took the Kevin Durant Golden State Warriors to 7 games. He's got experience in both. Kawhi Leonard. I don't even have to go on that. Paul George. Like, they've got players with experience. They should know how to do it. And I agree with Reuben. I think, Kawhi came back. Wasn't Kawhi. That wasn't Kawhi. And I think he will have a decent game 3. I don't know about extraordinary, but I think he will have a decent game 3. I think he gets over the 20-point mark. But I don't know. I still have Dallas winning the series, though, if I'm being honest. But I think the Clips will give them a great run for their money, if I'm being. I think the Clippers have what it takes to actually take it off the Bucks.
Yeah, I think the Clippers too. However, I do still think the Bucks can win on the road. I think they will win on the road, but I think the Clippers are the more likely team to win on the road. And if I'm being honest, I actually disagreed with Kawhi playing in the game yesterday. But after the game and thinking about it, I think I'm actually more confident in the Clippers than I was pre-series. Because not only did they beat the Mavericks without Kawhi, okay, but when Kawhi came back, he hasn't played in the month, okay, and obviously not playing for a month and then going into playoff basketball, it's not going to be pretty, and it wasn't pretty. But they gave him this game to, get a feel for it, and it was still a very close game. And Luka, although he's getting his numbers, he's having to work for them. Like, they've held Dallas to under 100 points in both of these first 2 games.
Luka played 46 minutes last game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And this is what I'm saying with the offensive firepower the Clippers possess. Harden was 2 of 10 from 3 yesterday. Okay, he was, and I'm confident in that because when we see Harden unravel is when he starts getting passive and starts passing the ball. But Harden really is going to be the difference maker for them because they're all saying, Luka's saying, we have Kyrie in this series. He's going to be the difference maker. But now the Clippers are saying, well, no, we have Harden in this series and he needs to be the difference maker for us. And I don't know if you guys watched, but Kyrie and Harden were going, especially Kyrie defensively. And I think, Gabe, I don't know if you heard about this, but I think there's still a bit of bad blood from the Brooklyn days and how that whole thing ended out with Harden leaving. And I know there's a bit of tension there because Kyrie was going at Harden on the defensive side of the ball. But I think the Clippers, considering how bad Kawhi played, how bad Harden played, and that game was still so close, and the Mavericks got held under 100 points. And Paul George had an efficient game, but Paul George, you can argue, needs to be more assertive too, because he had 22 points on 7 of 14 shooting, which is 50%. That's an efficient game, but you didn't really think he had that, great of a game. But I think the Clippers are in a really good spot, if I'm being honest with you, because now Kawhi's got a game to have a feel for it. They know that they were super close to beating them anyway. They know they can beat them because they won in game 1. Now, I agree, Reuben, it'd be very different if they had lost game 1, then Kawhi comes back, then they lose game 2, and now they're down in an 0-2 hole heading back into Dallas. Then you're in real hot water. But the fact they beat game 1 and then had that second game as a feel-out game, and I don't know if you guys saw Ty Lue after the game and in the press conference, he looks not phased at all. And I'm actually very confident in the Clippers heading back to Dallas because I think that this game, obviously they could have won it and that would have gone better. But considering they lost, I think in the way that they lost, I don't think it could have gone, I think there's a lot of positives to take away from it.
Luka, don't you think, this is just a question for you, because you're a Clippers fan, don't you think the warm-up game for Kawhi, it's better for him to come back at game 2 at home than it is away in game 3?
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's what I said, because when I first saw he was coming back, I was saying, no, why would you bring him back? They just won without him. And I thought it would kill the momentum. And it did kill the momentum. But then I was like, well, if they bring Kawhi back after they lose, and then he has a feel-out game, and when they lose again, well, then you have 2 games that you're down, and then you're in real trouble. So I looked back on it, and I think it was the right decision to bring him back. And I saw 2 seasons ago, in the second matchup, the Clippers went down 0-2 to Dallas in the first 2 games, and they came back 2-2 in LA. So I know they can win in Dallas, and you said it, Reuben. They're the third best team on the road. I know that they can do it, and I think Milwaukee can do it too. Now, Dame's averaging 35 points a game, which, I hate to be the person that predicted that.
And they still lost game 2. They still lost game 2.
And they did lose game 2, but that's because Turner and Nembhard both had 20 plus points in game 2. They had 23 combined in game 1. And this is the Giannis factor, because I don't believe Pascal Siakam averages 36.5 points in the first 2 games if Giannis is on the floor. So we'll see how they go. But I think it's going to be 2-2 heading back to Milwaukee, to be completely honest with you.
Which I think the Pacers could absolutely live with, considering that even with Giannis in the regular season, the Pacers are 4-1. So they definitely have the confidence to be able to overcome them. And I think they'll be confident now, like Damian Lillard playing so well, and they're still like being able to beat them. I just think when Giannis is out, the Pacers have more pieces that can help out the team when it's just Dame doing it by himself, because Chris Middleton is a shell of himself. So it's hard for the Bucks to get over that hurdle. And we all know about Doc Rivers and how bad of a coach he is. He's not helping out in any matter to get the Bucks over the line.
Gabe, your thoughts on the series?
I think Indiana has to capitalize. I think with Giannis being out, they really need to go at it. If they're gonna play passive and let Dame do what playoff Dame does, I think it slips away from them. But I think Indiana has a great chance of winning. They should win. Realistically, they should win. No Giannis, they should win. As Reuben said, Chris Middleton is not himself. Bobby Portis he's playing great. I'll give it to Bobby. So's Brook Lopez. But other than that, you can't let Dame. They should know how Dame is in the playoffs, but they're just letting Dame do what Dame does. And I think that's the only area they need to fix. But other than that, I really do think Indiana can take this.
But the thing is, Gabe, in game 2, Dame still did what he did in game 2, and the Pacers were still able to beat them.
He did. Yeah. But,
Yeah, and that's the thing, because the others stepped up, like I mentioned in the rundown, especially Turner and Nembhard, and Tyrese had a better game too as well.
I agree with you, Luke.
Yeah, they've got a really good team. They just.
Sorry, Ruben. I think if Giannis playing, Pascal doesn't score 37. I think that's the difference.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't.
No, but still in the regular season when they had Pascal, like the Pacers dominated the Bucks in the regular season.
But they didn't, Reuben. They played all those games early in the season.
Not all of them. Like there was one game.
All of them.
The one game that the Bucks won, Giannis had 64 points, and they only won by like 10 points.
Yeah, but he might have played in one, but I'm pretty certain that Pascal was not there for any of the games.
I thought Pascal
in the regular season.
I'll need to check.
I'm 99% sure, because in my rundown,
I think you are correct. I don't think.
In my rundown of the stats before the series, I had his stats versus Milwaukee historically, because he hadn't versed them this season as a member of the Pacers.
Okay, yeah.
And historically, and this is what I said, historically, before these 2 games, he's had 3 out of 24 games where he scored 30 plus points. So and that's because you had healthy Giannis, and that's the direct matchup right there. So that's what I mean. What you guys are saying is true. They need to capitalize, just like Miami capitalized last year when Giannis was unhealthy. And when he came back, they still had the momentum. But like I said, I think they're 2 very different teams. I think Middleton, Lopez, Portis, they're all averaging 14 plus points per game so far, but I think they can still be better. And I still think they can have more of an impact on the game. And I think Milwaukee really just needs to. I think they really, and if Dame keeps playing the way he's playing, because they will get there. They will get there. And I know they did it in game 2. But I'm just saying that they will get there, because at Mill, it's a tough one. But I think that the others are going to step up. Okay, and even someone like you might laugh at me, but even someone like Patrick Beverley, he's had some good playoff moments in his career. So I wouldn't be surprised if for one game he hits a couple of big corner threes, or he does something that can swing. Like they do have those types of players. Like just like you say, Ruben, they have a TJ McConnell on the Pacers side of
He
things
hasn't even
who
been
can come
playing
off.
that well, and like he needs to.
But
He's gonna have
but
he's
neither is
bound to have a
Beverly.
good
That's what
game.
I'm saying. Neither's Beverly. Like I'm saying, I'm
Yeah,
like
Pat Beverley.
Beverly has a game in him where he can do something. It doesn't need to be for the next four. I'm just saying for one game on the road, he can do something. Like I'm just saying they need those little moments to step up. And I'm still riding with the Bucks because I still believe in Dame. I don't know what's happening with Giannis, but I'm still sticking with my pick. Bucks in 7, even without Giannis, because I
I
believe
agree with you on
in
that.
Dame time. And he's motivated too. Did you hear what he said after that game one? Because Tyrese Halliburton mocked him at the start of the season, mimicking his celebrations. I think Dame really wants to stick it to the Pacers. You even heard Bobby Portis in his he was on Twitter saying how the Pacers are a bunch of front runners. Like, they do not like them. So I think they're going to be extra motivated, if I'm completely honest with you.
I think it's just hard when they don't have Giannis. They have the worst defensive rating coming up against the second best offense in the
Yeah,
league.
I
That's
agree.
the challenge for the Bucks. Don't get me wrong; they have a really good shot with Giannis. And look, the Pacers obviously have their red flags with defense, but I still think that the Pacers are ultimately going to get it done because I still don't like the duo of Giannis and Damian Lillard working in conjunction on top of the Doc Rivers as the coach. I just don't think they're able to get it done against this Pacers team.
Final words, Gabe?
I think just to add on top of that, I think Milwaukee wins this series. I just think Dame flips it. But I agree with Ruben. I think it's very much like a Minnesota situation with the Bucks at the moment. Is they've only had just this season to work their shit out, and I think that's what's hurting them. I think next season they're going to look a lot better. I have Milwaukee winning the series. I think Indiana's just a bit too inexperienced to get there, and I think Dame just takes control. Game 3, Game 4.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it happens, guys. But we will have plenty of more time to talk about it next time because that is all we have time for today for Priceless Takes, episode 55. Thank you for joining with us. I know we have gone a bit over time, but when it's the playoffs, there's a lot more to talk about and a lot more to debate. Thank you, Gabe and Reuben, for your
Thanks,
contributions
Luka.
today. I
you,
greatly
Luka.
appreciate it. We will see you guys in our next episode. Make sure to follow us on our social media platforms at Priceless Takes on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Spotify/YouTube, depending on which one you are watching us on. All of those links will be in the description. Thank you for tuning in to Priceless Takes episode 55. My name is Luca Price, and we will see you next time.